is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path.
A reading from the prophet of Ezekiel, chapter 47, verses 1 to 12. Then he brought me back to the entrance of the temple. There, water was flowing from below the threshold of the temple toward the east, for the temple faced east, and the water was flowing down from below the south end of the threshold of the temple, south of the altar. Then he brought me out by way of the north gate, and led me around on the outside to the outer gate that faces towards the east, and the water was coming out on the south side. Going on eastward with a cord in his hand, the man measured 1,000 cubits, and then led me through the water, and it was ankle deep. Again he measured 1,000 and led me through the water, and it was knee deep. Again he measured 1,000 and led me through the water, and it was up to the waist. Again he measured 1,000, and it was a river that I could not cross, for the water had risen. It was deep enough to swim in, a river that could not be crossed. He said to me, "Mortal, have you seen this?" Then he led me back along the bank of the river. As I came back, I saw on the bank of the river a great many trees on the one side and on the other. He said to me, "This water flows towards the eastern region and goes down into the Arabah. And when it enters the sea of stagnant waters, the water will become fresh. Wherever the river goes, every living creature that swarms will live, and there will be very many fish once these waters reach there. It will become fresh, and everything will live where the river goes. People will stand fishing beside the sea from En-Gedi to En-Eglaim. It will be a place for the spreading of nets. Its fish will be of a great many kinds, like the fish of the great sea. But its swamps and marshes will not become fresh. They are to be left for salt. On the banks, on both sides of the river, there will grow all kinds of trees for food. Their leaves will not wither, nor their fruit fail, but they will bear fresh fruit every month, because the water for them flows from the sanctuary. Their fruit will be for food, and their leaves for healing." This is the word of the Lord.
Second reading. A reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verses 9 to 17. For we are God's servants, working together. You are God's field, God's building. According to the grace of God given to me, like a skilled master builder, I laid a foundation, and someone else is building on it. Each builder must choose with care how to build on it. For no one can lay any foundation other than the one that has been laid. That foundation is Jesus Christ. Now if anyone builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, the work of each builder will become visible, for the day will disclose it, because it will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test what sort of work each has done. If what has been built on the foundation survives, the builder will receive a reward. If the work is burned up, the builder will suffer loss. The builder will be saved, but only as through fire. Do you not know that you are God's temple, and that God's Spirit dwells in you? If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy that person, for God's temple is holy, and you are that temple. The word of the Lord.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John. Since the Passover of the Jews was near, Jesus went up to Jerusalem. He found in the temple area those who sold oxen, sheep, and doves, as well as the money changers seated there. He made a whip out of cords and drove them all out of the temple area with the sheep and the oxen, and spilled the coins of money changers, and overturned their tables. And to those who sold doves he said, "Take these out of here, and stop making my Father's house a marketplace." His disciples recalled the words of Scripture, "Zeal for your house will consume me." At this the Jews answered and said to him, "What sign can you show us for doing this?" Jesus answered and said to them, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." The Jews said, "This temple has been under construction for 46 years, and you will raise it up in 3 days." But he was speaking about the temple of his body. Therefore, when he was raised from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this, and they came to believe the Scripture and the word Jesus had spoken. This is the gospel of the Lord.
My dear brothers and sisters and my dear children, you just listen to the gospel where we find Jesus entering the temple, where he finds the temple as a marketplace and what action he took. You know, dear brothers and sisters, temple was the center of Jewish life. And also for us, the Christians, the church, the village church, where we go to worship. And Jesus here, he was not against the temple. Well, he himself as a child visited many times with his mother and father to worship God in this temple. But what disturbed him was what it had become, the temple, kind of a marketplace, instead of being a place of worship. Well, dear brothers and sisters, for us the church is a place dedicated to worship God. We go to church for Sunday masses, for daily masses, and also to pray. A church is a place where we communicate with God in deep prayer. A place where the worshippers gather, the faithful gather in communion with each other. So, dear brothers and sisters, we need to understand this first. Then also, we need to understand why we go there and what we really do there. Do we make our prayer a kind of a transaction between God and myself? A kind of a transaction, I would say. As if it's something that through our prayer we request God to do this or that, and then we say, well, dear Father, if you do this for me, then I will do this for you. To put it in simple terms. This is what we really do. If you do this for me, then I will do this for you. If you allow me to get through my examination or the examination of my child, then I will come with my child and offer this much of sacrifices to you. Kind of a transaction between God and yourself. Just think of the vows that you make. Dear brothers and sisters, what's more important is deep prayer and deep communion and to be in union with God. Be just there with God, in communion with Him, in union with Him, then He will make you enlightened of what you should do. God does not need any sacrifices of kind of material needs. He does not need. We need them. The people need those. But what he always requests all of us through Jesus Christ is that, what He teaches us through Jesus Christ is that we be with Him always in deep union with prayer. Can I very easily turn my relationship with God into a type of transaction? No. I cannot do that. We cannot do that. What is our prayer with God? Can we make our prayer kind of a transaction? No. Do you spend time in real prayer with God? You have to. That is what God expects from us, dear brothers and sisters. Do you seek God, and then God will give you the best? This is what we should really practice, dear brothers and sisters. So try to understand this and live it. May God bless you, all of you, your children, and all of you. Thank you.